Okay, so I went ahead and I put my other 3 whiskers in. You can see he's starting to take shape. So at this point, let's get his tongue. Let's put his little tongue in there and the bottom of his mouth. We'll do that. So we need to get a little patch of red or pink, whatever. You know, if you want his tongue to be green, you know, this is your dog. This is your creative, your influence, and you're going to do this to suit you, and you should. He can have a purple tongue. So we're going to roll that up in this tube, and we're going to tack this down. Now here's where that clover tool comes in handy. This clover tool that I showed you before, you can lock this and unlock it, and it has those stabbing needles in them. These little fine needles. There they are. And on this tongue, we don't leave this fuzzy end because this makes it easy to stab this into your dog's head. And we're going to take and we're going to flatten this down just a bit because, you know, tongues are not super fat unless something's wrong. And make sure you flip it over because you don't want to have a fuzzy tongue on one side and a flat tongue on the other. So you want to get this both sides. Okay. Now this end piece is still just a bit fuzzy. So now here again, if you are brand new, make sure you have finger guards on. You can take and you can stab this in, and you can clean this up, which would be my choice. If you're not sure about doing that, get your scissors and just grace over these edges and cut off all these little flyaways that maybe you just don't like on your tongue. Nobody wants a fuzzy tongue. So you can take and just clean those off. Now, I don't throw away my little scrap pieces of wool because those are good fillers for armatures, and that'll be later. So on this dog, we've determined his mouth. It's right here. So, and I want his tongue to come out like this. So I'm not going to stab his tongue in this way because then it's going to come flat and do this. I want his tongue to fall over. So you're going to place the tongue this way. And then we're going to take that fuzzy end and you're going to stab that in. Now don't stab it into the cheek. You want to go in between these two cheeks that you just put in. So you want to stab that in there like that. Then let it fall over. Now you can have a little curve. If you want it curved, push up on this tongue. See, this is flat. And if you push up a little bit, it gives you that curved. And then stab that in. Okay, and see, we have a curved tongue on this dog. Okay, so every dog needs a bottom jaw. So let's go ahead and put in his bottom jaw. Now we're going to just pull a piece off because we don't want this to be huge. Okay, so here's my little piece. So what we're going to do is we're going to make, depending on who you learn from, and there's all kinds of ways you can call it. You can call it triangles, you can call it sandwiches, tacos, burritos, all kinds of stuff. We're going to take, because this bottom piece is shaped like a triangle, and yes, the trains are running. Yeah. So we're going to take, and we're going to start here. And we're going to make a triangle right here. Just don't do it, not all the way at the end. Make a little triangle like this. Now see, you can see it's fuzzy here all the way around, and here's my triangle. So take this top piece and fold it in just a little bit and tack that down. And you're going to lift this up and fold it over and tack this in. Take this side and fold this over and tack that down. Leave this fuzzy end. Now if you want your dog's jaw flat, then use your clover tool or keep stabbing. Now on this one, I don't want it that fuzzy. So instead of pounding, I'm going to go easy because I really don't want this to, I don't want it flat and solid, but I don't want it to be out of control, let's say. Okay, so we have a little bit, and it's still a bit more than what I want, so we're going to take our scissors and we're going to trim this off. That's more like it, just like that. Now, on our dog who fell off my felting pad, we're going to take and we're going to put this where we want that bottom jaw to be. So wherever it is, I mean, you can have your dog's bottom jaw come this way, or you can have it completely closed with his tongue sticking out like this. But I think I'm going to leave it open just a bit. So you're going to take and put it in place and tack this down coming towards your cheek. And then you're going to stab all that fuzzy that I told you to leave at the back end. You want to leave that, a piece of red. Stab this into the head so it becomes part of. Now, how far up you stab is going to be your decision. You can stab into the corner, which will kind of make that a pocket for his little tongue to sit in. And you can stab this down a little bit, which makes it look like his mouth is open. So you decide how his mouth is going. And I do believe I am pretty content with that. That looks pretty good. Here we go. A little bit too far out for me. That's the fun part of felting. You can change it. If you don't like it at all, you can literally just pull it off. You can take and pull this off, see? And then put it where you want it if you're not sure. So I'm going to head and finish this. I'm going to put his mouth in there. Do some cleanup real quick. Get this in. Now here again, if you find that you have a join line, like before, just take a little pinch and throw that over and stab that in lightly. Shallow stabbing, as they say. And stab that in. Okay, so now we have a dog face, a nose, two cheeks, whiskers, tongue, and the bottom jaw. Now, we need to decide where his eyes are going. So, on this one, we have the white and the blue. We have white and blue. So whichever eye color you want your dog to have. Now, if you don't want two different colors, you can do this all black. That works perfectly fine. You can just take and stab in. You can take your black and just fill the whole thing in so he has just black eyes and make him pretty simple. But in this case, we're going to take and do the white. So we're going to take a piece of white, about like that, and another piece of white, because we're going to make two. So we're going to take these two. I'm going to take this one and I'm going to roll this up in that same tube form, but I'm not going to roll this super, super tight because I want this to be this long, slender portion. Now, if you want your eyes rounded, that works. Do that. So you put your eye placement, which there is a nostril here, right here. I could put something there to signify where that is. Okay. There's a nostril there. So I'm going to put my eye right about here. So in this, you're going to go slow. Tack this in and shape that however you want your dog's eye to be shaped. Now for this guy, I'm going to make him big long eyeballs. Okay, that looks good. I'm kind of liking that. And yes, I still have the bulge, but just hold on. I kind of like that. Okay, so here's the other nostril right about here. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take and roll this up, not in a tight roll. Leave some air in there, which is not typically what weave felters do, but in this case, we need it. So here is the other nostril, and I want that eye right about there. So we're going to tack that in how you want it. And I left this eye undone so I can get the approximate same shape and same vicinity, because I don't want to have a big eye and a little eye and then have to rip all that out because, well, that's material. You don't want to do that. So we're pretty close. Here again, you can take and grab fiber and pull it in like this. Okay, I'm pretty well content with that. It looks good. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and felt this in. Felt this down because I'm going to put a blue eyeball in there. And I'm still using the finishing needle, the 40 spiral from Living Felt. Okay, so I can pull these pins out now. And I'm going to shape that in how I want. Not completely flat because I want there to be a little bit of dimension because, you know, eyeballs are not completely flat. If you look at your own eye, it's not flat at all. You know, look at it, look at your own pet. So we don't want it completely flat. Here again, you can push wool and shape how you want. So this blue part, I'm going to put the blue part in before I outline this. So I just have a little piece, and I'm just going to roll this up in that same cylinder form, kind of. There you go. Almost like a button. So I'm going to take and set this right in here. Now in this case, I'm not going to felt this flat in dead center. I want to tack this in because this color portion needs to look more rounded. So I'm going to put this in round shaped first, like this, and then I'm going to tack it in. so I keep my round shape as I'm going. There we go. Here again, this is not a realistic dog. This is a fun little craft if you're new to felting. Something for you to begin learning this craft on. And you can hang it up in your Christmas tree. You can hang this in your car. Give it as a gift. Put it on a gift tag. These would be really fun to add to Christmas presents, and that way everybody can have a puppy ornament for their tree. And then stab that in to keep your shape. Now, at this point, we're going to take a piece of black, and I'm going to make this a line. I'm going to draft this out. That's what that's called. When you pull it thinner, it's called drafting. I'm going to draft this out, and then I'm going to start twisting it, because I need this to be a line, a thin line like this, a real thin line. So I'm going to take this right here on the side of that white that we just put in, and I'm going to stab that in right next to it, not over it, next to it. And I'm going to follow the outline of that white on the eye. And twist that again a little bit and keep it nice and tight. And we're going to come right around this eye to give it some dimension. Come right down there between the two. Tighten that up. Kind of looks a little cartoony, and that's good. Makes it fun. Okay, now I'm not going to keep wrapping this around and around, because then it'll be too full and bulky. So I'm going to cut that, and we're going to finish putting that in. Now, if you need to, go back around carefully and stab that in around this eye. And now we're going to do the same thing again. So go ahead and finish your eye and do this liner around it, and do your other eye, and I will catch up with you on that end.